I had a great story recently, I love telling it, of a little girl who was in a drawing lesson. She was 6 and she was at the back drawing, and the teacher said this little girl hardly ever paid attention. And in this drawing lesson she did. And the teacher was fascinated. She went over to her and she said, "What are you drawing?" And the girl said, "I'm drawing a picture of God." And the teacher said, "But nobody knows what God looks like." And the girl said, "They will in a minute."
That is so great.
That is from the 2006 TED Talk by education reformer Sir Ken Robinson. His subject, How Schools Kill Creativity. It is TED's most watched presentation with more than 32 million views. Robinson began meeting with governments and school systems to discuss reform decades ago. His new book is called Creative Schools, the Grassroots Revolution that is Transforming Education. Sir Ken, welcome. Good to see you again. Everybody wants education to be reformed. They want it better. But you say the culture of standardization will not get you there and, in fact, is an impediment.
It is, and I think the reason is that education is a personal process. Anybody watching this who's got children knows that. I often make people a bet, if they've got 2 children or more, I bet them they're completely different. Mm-hmm. And they are. We've got 2 children, they're completely different. I'm one of 7, we're all different. The trouble is that education currently, the culture of education politically, is all about standardizing. Right. And it's alienating teachers, it's alienating kids, and it's not doing the job.
But clearly you have struck a nerve here. Just the fact that that TED Talk has been watched more than 32 million times. Yeah. Over 300 million people have seen it. In your book, you point out Miley Cyrus videos are shown more, but it's because you don't twerk.
I don't twerk.
Yeah, if you twerk more, maybe more people would watch.
I don't know.
But yeah, we would like to see that, Sir Ken. But what is the message that you want people to know? Because you said that schools are killing creativity, and they don't mean to, but you said that's what they're doing.
Well, I never blamed teachers or schools. I've worked with teachers my whole life. It's a fantastic profession. And most teachers I know don't like this either. But there is this deadly culture of standardizing that's being pushed on them from politically. Mm-hmm. My core message here is that we have to personalize education, not standardize it. Mm-hmm. That all children are different and we have to find their talents and cultivate them. And it's one of the reasons that kids are dropping out of schools in such large numbers. It just doesn't appeal to them. It doesn't attract them.
I think there's a problem with your microphone, so we're going to fix that.
Well, let me ask you this, because while it sounds good, a teacher will say, "I have 30 students. I can barely get them to be quiet. How can I personalize a classroom for 30 different children?"
Well, it's one of the reasons I wanted to write this book. The book is full of examples of people doing exactly that. One of the things I say in the book is that people sometimes ask me about my theories, and I say, well, it's not a theory. It's actually what works. It depends how you think of teaching. If you think of teaching as having people just sit in rows all the time and talk to them, it's very hard to control them on that basis. But if you engage children's imaginations, their curiosity, you get them working in teams, you get them doing practical project work, it's a very different dynamic in schools. My wife was here today. She used to, in Liverpool, she taught 40 children in the same classroom, and the place was buzzing because they were working collaboratively. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the book is about the art of teaching. Mm-hmm. There's a problem with the standards culture, which is it sees teaching as a kind of delivery system, like some branch of FedEx, dropping off the standards. And teachers are there to engage and motivate and inspire people, and great teachers do that.
So where does this philosophy of standardization come from?
Well, I think it's partly that governments quite rightly see the strategic importance of education. I mean, years ago when I was growing up, governments took no interest in what was happening in other countries, and now they look at their education policies like their defence strategies. It's a strategic issue. And in this country, at least, and I should say, but I live here, I'm very keen to make this clear. I haven't just popped over to have a shot at the education system. Well, I live in Los Angeles, which isn't quite the same as the rest of America, but we live here. and
that line was in your TED Talk.
And the thing is that what governments have tended to do is to go into command and control mode, to tell people. They think the answer is to standardize everything. And this is, incidentally, it's a position that's led to a huge industry. It's one of the things I say in the book, that the testing industry in this country is bigger than Hollywood. It's bigger than the NFL. It's a massive commercial interest.
One of the bright spots you talk about is Boston Arts Academy. Yeah. And this is an inner city school who focuses and engages students with arts. And I think like 94% of their students end up going to college. I mean, incredible rate. Yes. What are they doing right there that could be replicated?
Well, a lot of the schools in the book follow the same sorts of principles. They have a broad curriculum because children have very different talents, and it's important they should do math and language and so on. But Music and theatre and dance are just as important for talents and engagement kids. But it's not just about that, it's about a creative approach to science. So it's a broad curriculum, and they have flexibility in the way they teach individuals.
One last word. What's the responsibility of the parents?
Well, there's a whole chapter in the book about parents. Right. Parents should be partners with schools, and parents know their kids better than anybody else. Yeah. Working collaboratively with schools is a big part of the strategy I'm recommending here.
Yeah, well, you've got your daughter and your son here, and I asked them what they learned from you about education. Your daughter is great. She said, you've taught them that kids can be more in control of their education than they know.
Exactly so.
Well, let's try that in school. Yes, teacher, I want to be in control of my education.
Well, it's their life at the end.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Ken Robinson.
Thank you so much, Ken Robinson. And Creative Schools goes on sale today.